Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to see how efficiently our defensive system work against virus and analyze if we all are designed deliberately. Viruses are everywhere. It is present in the food we eat, the water we drink, or any surface we touch. There are several types of them. We inhale and ingest millions of viruses every single day. Strangely, all organisms, including bacteria and more giant viruses, have some specific viruses that infect them. The same virus may not infect a different species. Nature's design is incredible. These things must be created to normalize the population of any species. They consist of a shell of protein that has either RNA or DNA, which can be double or single-stranded. That RNA or DNA contains their genetic materials. To replicate, viruses need a host cell. When a healthy cell is infected by a virus, the cell gets converted into a mindless virus-producing machine. The viruses have a molecular receptor on the surface of their body which perfectly connects with the receptors of the cell of other host organisms. These molecular receptors of viruses must be unidentical to each other in their species. Thus, one virus created to infect one kind of species does not contaminate the different species. It is like the receptor of the host cell is a lock, and the receptor of the virus is the key where only one key is assigned to one specific lock. Once the receptors are joined, the cell gives access to the virus to get inside the cell. The cell thinks something essential material is getting imported, and it is not hostile because the receptors are already matched. The host cell accepts the genetic material of the virus as its own. The virus hijacks the cell by using its molecular arsenal. Then, the virus takes charge of the cell's DNA replication mechanism and protein manufacturing systems. It uses the materials of the host cell to replicate its own DNA. Now, it starts producing its own viral protein shells, filling them with virus DNA, and the host cells do not realize it. When thousands of viruses are replicated within the cell, there will be tension and pressure on the cell wall of the host, and they burst from the host cell with the enthusiasm and intention of infecting new hosts for the same purpose. Winch, 2015. Some scientists believe that the nucleus of a living cell is the virus that was trying to infect a bacterium billion years ago. If it is true, all living beings are descendant of the combination of viruses and bacteria. It is tricky to understand why specific viruses exist for one species. If evolution is driving the shapes of organisms, why is one type of virus not capable of infecting all species of organisms? When we design a remote control for our car, that remote can be used for only our car, and our car cannot be operated by any other key or remote control. This is possible because there are no infinite possibilities in terms of creation. But if a simple nail tries to become a specific key to a specific car via evolution, there are endless possibilities that may never happen. In other words, the car and key must be designed side by side, or at least the information of making should be shared so that the key fits the car. This can be easily seen in the creation rather than evolution. However, the debate of creation versus evolution is not so simple that we can conclude this easily. But there is still a lot to know about nature. Viruses unlikely to protozoans and fungi are not found to control host organisms' minds and bodies. However, they have a certain degree to change their host's behavior. For example, the rabies virus. This virus affects the brain and spine, causes hefty damage to its host organism, and sometimes takes the life of its host. Other viruses that change host behavior are chlorovirus ATCV1 and influenza virus, Duncan, 2018. When viruses and bacteria attack our system, we get a fever. All mammals, some birds, and a few invertebrates such as insects and plant species also experience the heat of fever. TED ed. 2020. Fever is a mechanism of our defense system to fight against pathogens. This mechanism happened to animals because of the evolution process that started millions of years ago. Research shows that for the increment of every 1 degree centigrade temperature of the human body, there is an increment in energy requirement by 12.5%. The exact temperature is raised when a person runs for about 20 minutes. Generally, heat is produced due to the combustion of food. But, when we have a fever, our body generates heat without feeding the additional energy into the body. Most mammals, birds, insects, and plants in our system have a thermoregulation function that controls our core temperature. The role of this thermoregulation is to maintain a favorable and preset temperature in a suitable condition without changing it for no reason. In humans, it keeps our temperature around 37 degrees centigrade, Celsius. This thermoregulation mechanism is controlled by our brain's hypothalamus, which can detect any minute temperature shifts. When the temperature change is detected, this brain part sends signals throughout the body. If we feel cold, say we are freezing, our blood vessels shrink. In this case, our brain signals the body to shiver, and shivering generates the heat. Similarly, if we are too hot, the hypothalamus secretes the signals that command our sweat glands to produce sweats. These sweats cool down our internal temperature and help cool us off. They also cause the dilation of our blood vessels, due to which blood rushes closer to our skin's surface. Pores on the skin cool down the blood faster, and this cool blood moving throughout the body lowers the temperature of the entire body. This way, our brain maintains a perfect temperature when we are all well. But in the case of sickness or infection, the principle of temperature equilibrium of the body is not followed to induce a fever. This fever is required to burn off waste materials and pathogens. However, the hypothalamus has an upper limit of the rising temperature. When the body temperature reaches about 41 degrees Celsius, 105.8 degrees Fahrenheit, it shuts down its temperature-raising mechanism because any higher temperature than this can damage our organs. The chaotic cellular environment induces a fever when immune cells fight pathogens or any invaders, which could be dust. When losing the fight or getting the situation out of hand, our fighting cells need assistance from our internal thermal mechanism to burn down the intruders. They produce a biochemical signal and rush those signals to the blood rapidly. When the hypothalamus receives the signals, it understands the instruction on what to do next. Then hypothalamus gives the command to the mechanism to increase the temperature gradually. Our body needs to adjust to the rising temperature slowly. Until the body reaches a new set temperature, we feel cold. Therefore, we shiver and experience chills when we have a fever. This mechanism is essential because it induces a whole body immune response. When the internal temperature is raised, some of our cells release a type of protein known as heat shock protein, HSPs. The synthesis of HSPs is a universal phenomenon, occurring in all plant and animal species studied, including humans, Ponomarenko, Kolchanov, 2013. The cells are not used to a temperature higher than our usual one. When we are sick, the raised temperature creates stress on some cells. Probably, they are designed to behave in this way that when the signals come, that is, a fever, they produce such proteins. These proteins are like a fuel for lymphocytes, a type of white blood cell, that assists them in traveling faster to infection sites to fight pathogens. HSPs enhance the stickiness of lymphocytes, which enables them to get through the blood vessel wall so they can reach the location of the infection quickly. This protein also communicates with other nearby healthy cells to stop producing their protein so that the viruses cannot use such proteins to replicate. Viruses depend on the host's replicative mechanism to reproduce. If the production plant is shut down, they cannot produce. HSPs also protect other cells from pathogens by enhancing immune activity. This protein's other crucial function is to save our cells from self-killing or self-eating. Heat shock proteins HSPs, the molecules known from their chaperone activity and molecular conservatism, play essential functions during apoptosis. Among that protein's family, i.e., HSP 100, 90, 70, 60, 40 and small molecular HSPs, there are agents mainly protective against programmed cell death, Zofia et al., 2010. Thus, a fever is essential in activating the immune system and promoting our well-being. This mechanism is also well designed to protect us. Everything happens as if there was already a plan laid out. Our body already knows what to do in all cases. People dying of infections does not mean their defense or immune system cannot do anything. When a new condition occurs, our immunity takes time to study and analyze. We do the same in life. When we face a new challenge, we analyze it and plan to cope. Sometimes, our cells take too much time to make decisions, and a person dies. Not all cells produce the same protein, though they may be able to make any protein as per requirement. They are assigned a specific duty with a production manual. When our body's defense system cannot successfully wipe out pathogens, doctors suggest we take drugs that promote our sound health. These drugs perform well when controlled, and how they help our cells in desperate need of assistance for survival is praiseworthy. This is all for today. We discussed only a few pages of Chapter 7 of my book, Wake Up! They Control Us from Other Dimensions. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel.